This week's episode has been sponsored by Oh My Bod, shifting the evolution of pleasure. Hello, I'm Suzanne.
And I'm Zoe.
And you are listening to Sex Advice for Seniors. And we are incredibly excited today to be joined.
I'm so excited, Suzanne. We're going to talk about penises and men's health.
We are one of our favorite topics with Dr. Eliot Justin, who is from FirmTech. And Eliot, welcome. So glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
Great. So tell us a little bit about your background and
Sure. Well, by background, I'm an emergency medicine physician. And as we were discussing earlier, short of a heart attack or a stroke, nothing concerns a man as much as a limp dick. So I'm 7 years old. I'm fortunate to be in good health. I can make love every day. So I really hadn't thought much about this issue, but I was aware that it's alarming to many men because the numbers are really distressing. 50% of men by age 50 have erectile dysfunction. By my age, it's a little bit over 70%. And there are so many common causes of it: diabetes, hypertension. One that doctors don't like to talk about is medication side effects, because doctors don't esteem sexuality. They don't recognize how feel comfortable talking about it, and they don't recognize. They kind of minimize importance. They'll place, say, high blood pressure is more important than sexual function, or depression is more important than sexual function. But if you're prescribing medication to someone that makes things worse for them sexually, you're probably making the blood pressure worse. You're probably making the depression worse as well too. Doctors, we are kind of assholes about this. I assume in the UK, just like in the US, we don't ask about someone's sexual health. I've never had a doctor ask me about my sexual health, the status of my marriage, or warn me about the sexual side effect of a medication or a procedure. So we as doctors need to pay much more attention to these issues. So about 3 years ago, I was involved with medical technology. I'm very interested in wearables. Many, many years ago, I founded a company called SwiftMD that was the second oldest telehealth company in the United States. It's been sold since then. And that made me, I'm interested in tools that could be used to manage people's health at home. I'm also really interested in providing people with the knowledge that physicians should have, but empowering people with that knowledge, because people aren't motivated by secondary gain. They don't want to bring you into business. They don't want to do surgery to you. We want more information about our bodies, especially in this area. So we live in this wonderful age of healthcare wearables, smart watches, smart rings, smart bands, but there's a gap, which is sex. Yeah. So when I talk about sexual health gap, I'm not talking about novelties. It's not like a novelty to my mind is Suzanne, you didn't know this, but Zoe and I are having an affair, and we each have vibrators inside of our bodies right now. We're vibrating each other. You can't tell. But that's kind of cool. It's a novelty, but that's a novelty. It's not telling us anything about our health.
Yeah.
So if you give people data, as the cliche goes, if you track it, you can hack it. So we want to give people data so that and they can then measure the impact of diseases like diabetes, hypertension, or orgasm killers in women too, antihypertensive medications, antidepressants, or diet, exercise, and supplements. Because when we're ignorant, we have hopes, and where the hopes are dopes, and it's a multi-billion-dollar international industry. Whether it's illegal, rhino horn in China, or whether it's nitric oxide pills, all these pills that are sold over the counter to improve men's and women's female sexual health.
Yeah.
Look, I don't, especially after COVID, I don't particularly trust the conventional doctors. We've been scammed badly, but it doesn't mean that the naturopaths or homeopaths are offering things that are particularly objective either. That's the importance of data. So 3 years ago, a urology professor at the University of Utah said he wants to come up with a way of counting the number of nocturnal erections that men have. And I thought, pardon the language, what the fuck for? I mean, we know about morning wood. We laugh about it, but what is going on here? There are actually 10 to 15 papers, 12, I think, last count, showing that the number, if a man could track the number of nocturnal erections, and that number went down, it's a leading indicator of a cardiovascular problem or a medication problem until proven otherwise. Well, that's really, really powerful. So
wow.
people track their blood sugar, they track their blood pressure, and what do men care more about after all? The status of their erections, or how many steps it took yesterday, or what the weight is. So so when he said this to me, I thought, well, nocturnal erections, we can do better than that. Because what men and the partners are really interested in is what's going on when trying to have sex. So I said, well, let's come up with a ring. Let's embed sensors into a cock ring.
Yeah.
And let's come up with the world's first smart cock ring. Now, it has to be different than any other cock ring. Because cock rings right now, this is I mean, women like to complain that there's not enough attention paid to them. But you got all those fucking vibrators and dildos. So men have shit. They have these large fleshlight strokers that look like somebody you could beat someone to death with. And I certainly know. I mean, anyone who claims that this is an improvement on the human hands or the human vagina is lying. They are not. So, I mean, a fleshlight doesn't have a brain. A hand attached to a man or a woman has a brain attached to it and could deliver a lot more pleasure than any of the strokers. So, but the strokers. So if the problem with cock rings is that they've been made the same way for 150 years. It's a hard silicone ring. It's essentially a noose or a gasket, like you're lynching your dick, or you're putting a plumbing apparatus on the penis. So a man has to have. This is now we're getting a common problem with seniors. You have to have an erection first for these rings. You have to get blood in. Well, a lot of older people have trouble getting blood in because they're diabetic, they're hypertensive. They have a higher incidence of performance anxiety. So if you had a ring that did not block the arterial flow but only constrained the venous return, you then would have a ring that could be put on discreetly, or could be, or even more importantly, could be worn for longer sex sessions. Because another problem with these hard, cheap rings you get in a sex toy store is that they really, after 5 or 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, they get up to be uncomfortable, and they can be dangerous, especially dangerous in men with high blood pressure, diabetes, after like 20, 30 minutes. You want the damn thing off as well. Now, men will put up with pain because a guy with a hard-on, you could probably stab him in the back and probably keep on thrusting. So, but they're really uncomfortable, and they're made the same stupid way. So, my thought was we have to change the form before we embed the sensors. We have to change the form and the material. So, I really have to thank my wife for this. She has a stress ball on her desk, and I thought, oh, why are we making cock rings out of silicone? Let's make them out of elastomer. Elastomers are soft. The great thing about elastomers over silicone, and women understand this more than men do, women wear bras. Bras have a silicone strip on the back. That gets to be uncomfortable. At the end of the day, you want that thing off. Imagine, Zoe and Suzanne, if you were asked to put on a bra that was 3 sizes or 4 sizes too small, you would say, get this fucking thing off me right now. Get me out of this. Well, that's what a cock ring made out of silicone is. It's essentially a silicone band that's too small. So I was scratching my wife's back after she took a bra. I would say probably half the heterosexual sex in the world starts at night when a woman wants a back scratch when she takes off her bra. And then I noticed this incredibly feature on the bra, a hook. And I thought, oh, duh. Why? A bra, women don't put on bras over their head. Well, maybe it's sports bra. Women don't put on bras over their head. A bra is a ring that opens and closes with a hook.
Yep.
And I thought, well, why don't they make a cock ring with a hook? Because then it's easy on, easy off. It's safe. And then if we make it out of a soft elastomer, it could be worn for hours. Yeah. So that's the origin of being the background story of the form and material of the ring. And we have patents on it. And we sold over, of the rings without the technology, which is simply a superior cock ring, we sold over 10,000. Let me get to the tech, and then I'll get back to why rings are important for men, though. So one overnight, this device has a pressure sensor in there,
I
strain
see.
gauge in there, and then it goes on differently. The man drops his balls into it. I don't have a dildo here. I should. Penis is in one end.
Yeah.
Testicles are in the other end.
Yeah.
So one overnight, we count the number of nocturnal erections. And as I said before, that's a leading indicator. So leading indicator is a really powerful statement to make in medicine. Blood pressure is associated with heart attacks and strokes. Nocturnal erections indicate whether you're going to have one. So 50 to 60% of men who have a declining number of nocturnal erections will have a heart attack in 3 years. It's 88% of strokes can picked up, vulnerability for stroke is picked up by following nocturnal erections as well too.
And this is like real data.
This is real data. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
I
mean, it looks like, because we don't have video, we don't use video on our podcast, but it looks like, no, you can show us anyway. Maybe we'll do something, but it looks like a bit of a Fitbit. Fitbit. I have a Fitbit. It's what did we just call it? A
Dickbit.
Yeah. A
Dickbit.
A Dickbit. Yeah. Attached to like a something stretchy. So the stuff that's currently measuring my pulse is similar in a way to measuring your erections. Kind of, right? Kind of.
Yes. We're measuring the duration of erections, how long the erection lasts, and we're measuring how hard they are.
All right. Wow.
So utilizing
is that from the pressure of the penis against
the sensors?
Oh, against the sensor.
Against the sensor.
Interesting.
Correct. Yeah. And then we provide people with, we call it an erectile fitness score, because before there's dysfunction, there's fitness, and we want people to think in terms of fitness. I don't have ED. I'm like my sexuality where it is. How can I keep it where it is? Well, data helps. I do have ED, or I've just started a medication. What's going on? How's this medication, impacting me? So, if you have data, you can then. We're giving people objective, personalized information. So one of the ways in which doctors again are dicks is if the three of us on this call said we decided we had depression and we went to see our family doctor, or psychologist, psychiatrist, they will put us in the same dose of antidepressant medication, regardless of our gender, regardless of a difference in weight, regardless of a difference in age, and that's just stupid. Because if you can provide people with individual data, they then can titrate the medication. We have people who are using our device for that very reason. Now, we recommend, of course, that people discuss, that don't change their medications on their own. They discuss it with healthcare providers. But we also know that's not the way people are. So, people, especially when people are reluctant to discuss issues of sex with healthcare providers. So, but we have doctors as well too, who are utilizing our devices to titrate personal responses to medications, especially antidepressants, antihypertensives, or anti-baldness medications, which are those medications, finasteride, are associated with a higher incidence of impotence in men.
And can I ask, do they have to? How long do they have to wear this for? Is it something that they wear every day, or is it something they wear once a week? Like, how often do you advise using it to track your nocturnal erections and to then discover where you are on the nocturnal erection spectrum?
Sure.
God, that was bloody difficult to say there.
Well,
nocturnal erection spectrum.
Spectrum, yeah. That journey from fitness into dysfunction, we want to help people stop going down that pathway. The device, we recommend that people initially wear it for 4 nights.
Okay.
It takes about 4 nights. The sensors need to calibrate to the individual penis.
Yeah.
And that's 4 nights. We give people a score, and after that, obviously if you're starting a new medication, or you have a new partner, or you're wondering about the impact of whatever, a recreational drug, or the impact of some supplement, on you can take more readings. But I'm in good health, so our recommendation is after the initial 4 readings, if you're normal, Depends upon your age. I'm 70 years old. I check my blood pressure once a week. I check my erectile fitness score once a week. If I were
Yeah.
45 years old, I might do it once a month. But it depends upon what one's underlying conditions are too. I think someone who's diabetic or hypertensive should check it more.
Yeah. Really interesting. Fantastic.
This is fascinating.
Yeah, well, it's world's first technology. There are 4 papers that have been accepted for publication. There are another 5 or 6 papers that will come out this year or early next year. This will become, I believe, the standard of care. Not necessarily our device, but the data will become the standard of care. So, for example, if all 3 of us on this call went to a doctor and said, my pulse feels irregular, sometimes I feel like I'm going to faint, and the doctor just put a finger on our pulse and listened to the stethoscope, we'd think, what the fuck is this, 1880? I want an electrocardiogram, check my blood pressure. How about a CT? How about a CT angiogram? But that's where we are with gynecology and sexology.
Yeah.
Gynecology and urology when it comes to sexual health. Most of what we do is based on opinions and speculation, rather than objective data.
Yeah.
So at both extremes, let's take both extremes of this. If a man is having say 3 or 4 good nocturnal erections per night, as the average man has 3 to 5 per night, and he can't get up with a partner, there's something wrong in the relationship.
Right.
And at the other extreme, this particularly relates to older people. If someone's not having any nocturnal erections, someone's getting wrist fatigue or jaw fatigue for nothing, because it's just not happening. That person has a medical problem and needs to see a doctor. And so this information can be both destructive in a relationship or very helpful in a relationship, because it helps people, help a couple or an individual to better understand what's happening.
Well, and here I am to help the people who are medically sound having trouble in their relationships that are affecting sex. And sometimes it's not even the relationship, it's the actual sex that they're having, because pornography is our de facto sex education. And that leaves a lot to be desired in how the kind of sex that we're actually having. So,
well, pornography certainly can delude people as to what's going on. It's not an HB world out there. But in terms of older people, and I call them my patients, but they're really my customers. But I've spoken to more older people, especially about sex, in the last year and a half than I have the entire rest of my life. And it's clear to me, one, that they're not telling the doctors what's going on with them.
Yeah.
And because the things that people talk about are, I get an erection and I lose it. Well, doctors don't. So most men's problem is not that they can't get it up; it's that they lose it.
Yeah.
And they lose it because they have I call it venous insufficiency. So doctors think about they think about venous leak syndrome, which is something men are born with, where you have weak veins and you can't get blood in the penis, but it doesn't stay there. But every man, frankly every woman too, and we all get venous insufficiency as we get older. If I sit in a plane for 5 hours, sit at the desk for 4 or 5 hours, my socks will get a little bit tight.
Yeah.
My rings my fingers will swell a little bit if I dangle my arms. I'm older. So we have muscles, tiny little muscles around our venules, little veins, that pump blood back to our heart, and they weaken with age, and the veins get baggier as a consequence. So one of the problems with the way doctors just don't listen, though. So and you see in the medical research too. When medical research on ED groups together as ED, men who can't attain with men who can't sustain. Well, men who can't attain erection have a much more severe problem. They need a different type of help. Men who can't sustain erection, one, they need to think about why is that? Well, one, you're getting older. 2, what medications might be contributing to that. 3, what's going on in the relationship? People don't want to talk about boredom.
Yeah.
So why do people go to porn? One reason is they're bored. Well, couples need to talk about this because when they put off sex, because they've lost confidence, they're bored, whatever. You can talk your way through that. You also, so what's great about our ring, in terms, and frankly, it's changed our marriage. I'll personalize it. So my wife is 70 years old as well too, and we make love differently now because of the ring. We don't have sex without the ring. Not the ring with the data. We make another product called a maximum performance ring, or MaxPR. Well, this is the only doctor designed ring. It's a little bit tighter than the ring with the technology. This is the only doctor designed ring geared to help a man sustain an erection, but also produce a more powerful orgasm. I'll talk about sustaining in a moment. So we looked at 22 men, aged 27, age 70, and we didn't want to block the arterial flow in, we just want to constrain the venous return, and we compared our ring, maximum performance ring, to tadalafil, which is the most common PD5 Viagra type medication in the United States, probably in the UK as well too. And I don't know any guy over the age of 50 is not taking it. I know guys on the age of 50 take it, whether they need it or not. And part of this is it does have a profound placebo effect. I mean, I got guys who I prescribe it to tell me just knowing I have it on my night table makes me more confident. That's how powerful the placebo effect is. But the PD5 medications put more blood into the penis. But if a man can get an erection, his primary problem is not getting blood into the penis; it's keeping the blood there. And PD5 medications are not particularly effective at doing that. So about half the people who take PD5 medications say they don't work. Well, not that they don't work. The guys you don't really need them. So we did a study of detumescence. Detumescence is the time to get an erection. Detumescence is the time it takes to lose an erection. And we looked at after climax, no stimulation, because we want to try to eliminate as many variables as possible. So the time it takes for erection to go down is about 35 seconds, and 35 seconds in an average man. The time it takes for an erection to go down with tadalafil, 10 milligrams, was a little bit over 2 minutes. And when I say to go down, I mean penetration is impossible. Too soft to penetrate. With the maximum performance ring, it's a little bit over 4 minutes. And with the ring and tadalafil together, it's a little bit over 5 minutes. So the longer the erection takes to go down, the more blood is being retained in the penis. The more blood is retained in the penis, the better the more sensation that a man has, because the more blood, same thing with clitoris, the more blood is retained, the more sensation there is. So and there's going to be 1 or 2 papers about addressing this, utilizing our device this year. What's the takeaway from this? Well, the takeaway is, man, if you want to last longer and have more, and get harder, stay harder rather, not get hard, stay harder. Because we don't get hard, make people hard. We help to stay hard. Put a fucking ring on it and take a pill. And then, if for the most pleasure, take a pill as well. So, in our lifetimes, you ladies look young, a little bit younger than me, but it's really our lifetime, our generation. Vibrators went mainstream. My mother's vibrator was in the bottom dresser drawer of the supply closet. And she told me never find it. We know what the fuck it was. She said it was a massager, whatever. I don't remember what she said. But my wife, probably like you ladies, owns, I don't know how much she owns, but she varies what her favorites are, because the market is really addressed. You want a rumble, you want a buzz, you want this shape, you want that shape. The market, the vibrator market is enormous, and they're mainstream. Our daughter, her generation, they take them on dates. So back in the 70s or 80s, there was a certain shame about using a vibrator, and that's not the case at all right now. They're normalized. That hasn't happened to cockrings. Cockrings is still in the closet. And one of our goals.
I don't know if that's true. I mean,
I'm glad they're out of your closet.
They're definitely in my closet. I mean, it's funny because I'm living in the Grand Canaries, and I brought with me just these little stretchy. They're like silicone, but they're stretchy, right? Yeah. And they're a ring, and they're super easy to go on and stuff like that. And now I've tried them a couple of times with some people, and they're like, "Can I take this home with me?"
Sure. Yes.
I'm like, "Yes, of course you can," because it was like 20 cents, and you can have that. It is my gift to you. But they're not embarrassed using it is the point, right? So I think rings have gone away from being embarrassing, certainly within the kink community that's been around for a long
Yeah, sure, of
time.
course.
And I think there's a certain element amongst older men that are now recognizing the benefits of using ring for just keeping the blood in there without going, as you say. There was some question I had about the power ring. So what I'm trying to understand, because I really do understand how rings work.
Yeah.
What's the thing that is in your ring that's giving it that extra boost? What is it actually?
What boosts the erection? Nothing.
No, ring, the power ring. That's the different one from the other one.
The MaxPR.
The MaxPR, like, what is it? What's it actually doing to give it that extra?
It's the right amount of pressure over the urethra. So again, our goal was to increase the ejaculatory phase by 50%. No one has ever. I mean, I'm one of our distributors in the United States is Doc Johnson, the largest sex toy distributor in the United States, maybe the world. And we also have worked with EQOM. They're in the Netherlands. They're an enormous sex toy distributor. And none of the rings that they're selling have ever been tested material-wise to increase the ejaculatory phase. So, I mean, you can achieve that effect with other rings, but you have to play around with it. Whereas ours is actually tested on men for the right degree, if you will, of stretch, sponginess, if you will, of the ring, so that it could comfortably have that effect. Now, you can do the same thing with a lasso, but you've got to play around with it. I mean, you can with the lasso, you can actually choke off the ejaculation. Choke off means you get retro ejaculation, and that is uncomfortable. It also has a risk of infection as well too. So the goal. So that's what's special about the Maximum Performance ring.
I see.
It also has the same hook feature that the regular ring does, and it's also a peniscrotal ring, because one of our goals is, so with the simple rings, they have no impact on the testicles, but the testicles are actually a secondary erogenous zone. But what happens to balls during sex? They're up, they're down, they're here, there. What the fuck are they? What does a man want with balls during sex? Would like them to be caressed or stroked. Same thing a partner wants with balls during sex. So our ring not only goes around the base of the shaft of the penis, but it goes around the top of the testicles. By going around the top of the testicles, we accomplish three things. One, we hold a little bit more blood in the testicles. Two, that means that by holding more blood, they're now more sensitive to touch. Three, they're in a consistent location for someone to grab. So my wife calls it a bra for balls for that reason.
Bro. I'm a big fan of the scrotum.
Yeah. Zoe loves the scrotum.
Sure.
She's a scrotum lover.
But otherwise, they're without a ring around top of the testicles, they're, they can be inside, outside, And so, what you think about, well, look, women who have larger breasts, what do they do with their breasts during sex? They bind them. They bind them because it makes them, I mean by bind, I mean they wear negligee or they wear that's what my wife does. Otherwise, they're here, they're not where she wants them to be or where I want them to be. So
I'm all for having my husband's scrotum served up to me.
You should get a MaxPR. You're gonna love it.
Yeah.
No, but I know what I was going to say. What I was going to say was that when as an older person, you potentially have heart disease or high blood pressure, low blood pressure. Often, I speak on. I remember my father, I think it was, and I think my mother as well. They were sent home with patches that were connected to a machine that would start testing their blood pressure throughout the day to understand what was going on, to see if they were at risk, right? And these sorts of things are very common when you're older and they think you might have a heart problem, is they send you off with these,
with a holder.
They look like monitors. Thank you for that, right?
It's called a Holter monitor. It monitors it's cardiac monitor.
Exactly. And I thought the thing about your FirmTech device is that, why are the doctors not sending men home with this? Right?
I don't know about it. That's why.
No, but to me, it's like like where the market is, the biggest potential market is in potentially diagnosing heart disease, all these conditions prior to somebody having a heart attack, having a stroke, by saying, look, you're a guy, and one of the ways that we test this is through your nocturnal erections. So we're going to send you off with this device. Off you go. You're going to wear it for 4 days. You're going to come back. You're going to show us the data, and we're going to see what's going on here, because this is a clear indicator of potentially you're at risk. And
that's right.
We can sort this out before it happens.
This is the future, Suzanne. This is the future as I envision it.
Future. It's not for me. This is it's a lovely consumer product. I love it. Don't get me wrong, but for me, this is, every hospital needs to be giving these to men, to be going to them. Look, we know that a certain percentage of you are going to have heart attacks, are going to have strokes, are going to have this, and we can help prevent this by just letting you go away with this, or buy it, or do whatever the fuck you want with it for 4 days, and then come back and show us the evidence, and then we can rule it out or not rule it out, right? I mean,
that's my
goal.
Me,
that's the thing that's really exciting, because we have spoken to people in the show about the fact that erections are so important in determining whether or not you are at risk of heart disease. And I think a lot of men don't take it seriously enough, frankly, because when I notice that in intimate moments, in new situations where I know that they should be, where they're older guys and stuff's happening, I think about that. I'm like,
you've spoken about that, Suzanne. Here. Yeah.
Well, two things. One, I think this is like a sixth vital sign, and I am confident that within 2 or 3 years, so we have all this research that's going to be published. We've been to the European Society of Sexual Medicine show now twice. We'll be back in Europe in May for the European Federation of Sexology. We'll be at the American Urology Association in this spring as well too. We're publicizing it, but the research is more important. As the research gets published, as doctors speak at the podium about our device, and they are starting to do it, this will become a standard of care, and a standard for research as well. And it's going, so just the way, as I said before, if you went to a doctor, they didn't check your blood pressure and get a cardiogram and think, what is this? It's going to be the same way, and it's going to be the same way for women too, because we developed a device for women as well. We're talking about men here, but we have developed a device. We've tested on 38 women to measure the health of the clitoris. And health of the clitoris, men and women are actually, there are ways in which we're different, and there are ways in which are similar. And there's so many ways in which our sexual organs are analogous. Women have nocturnal clitoral arousal. No one really, since Master Johnson, has quantified it. And so we don't really know. I'm assuming it's going to be just like men. I'm assuming that women are going to have, I'll make it up, 3 to 5 episodes of arousal while they're sleeping. And that number is going to be predictive of or revelatory of the cardiovascular health or the reaction to medications. So postmenopausal women lose their hormonal protection against atherosclerosis, diabetes, hypertension. They have all the same problems that men do. Premenopausal women have problems that men don't have, and they're pharmacology related. They take antidepressants 5 times as much as men do, younger men, and they also take hormones for birth control. And both those things are killers of sexual pleasure, and no one knows what the right dose is. So people, if women had data, they could then hopefully get the benefit of these medicines without the side effects, or frankly just decide, I'm going to live without it, because the impact on my sexuality is so obvious. Why would I take something that's killing my sexual performance? So this area of extreme anxiety, especially for younger women, difficulty having an orgasm, becomes it's going to be large. I think it's going to be largely resolvable once people objectively see the impact of these medications on them, or once they, in a relationship, can sort out, well, is it him or me? So that's so I don't have the money right now to take this female device, commercialize it the way we have the male device. We sold like 11,000 male devices. Female device, it's really a question of money and time. We will do this, and we will do this not probably this year, but probably 25.
Great, glad to hear it.
And that's really important for older women as well too. So it's but in terms of the value of the ring itself, I just can't emphasize. And you get this, is that obvious? Like, it's so important to put a ring on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Put a ring on it. Who was it that said that?
I think people should celebrate their partnership or wedding anniversaries by taking a knee and putting a ring on it.
Anyway,
Eliot, where can people find to learn more about the device, about you? Where can people find you?
Sure. You can find me at MyFirmTech, MyFirmTech, myfirmtech.com. You can reach me directly there. It's Eliot, ELLIOT, at myfirmtech.com. And to any listeners of your podcast, if you use the promo code I know Eliot, IKNOW Eliot, ELLIOT, one T, not the British spelling. There's a 20% discount. But I'm happy to talk to people about their issues. And so one thing that we didn't get to is prostate disease. Because when we talk about sex and the elderly, we need to recognize that a significant number of men are going to have prostate disease. And when these men get operated on, it's a killer. So 40 to 80% of men who get operated on are impotent after surgery. And the recovery period is protracted. It really can take 1 to 2 years for men to recover. And most men don't recover unless they do their exercises, take their medications, pump, etc. Many men give up. So our device is really valuable for these men for two reasons. One, they can see that they're recovering with the nocturnal erections before they experience their recovery in bed. And we have men and doctors who utilize the device for that purpose. There's also a specific messy problem after prostate surgery called climacturia that I never heard of until I had men call me up and tell me they were using our ring for climacturia, which men they urinate when they climax, which is kind of bedroom unfriendly, unless you're really kinky. I guess if you're really kinky, that's okay, but it's kind of bedroom unfriendly. So there's a woman in Australia who's doing a paper utilizing our ring, for this very purpose, and she finds it to be effective 95% of the time. The climacturia resolves when men have our ring on. They like our ring because our ring is soft and comfortable, and also older people like to have sex for longer periods of time. That's when I talk to sexologists or urologists about how the average man comes in 7 minutes. I'm not talking about a 70-year-old man then, and frankly, you're not. So it's the same thing with when they say the average woman comes in 14 minutes. Well, you're not talking about a 70-year-old woman either. So the great thing about the ring,
in my dreams, 140 minutes maybe.
Yeah, well, also you want. Why would you want to just come in 7 minutes? That's like having hors d'oeuvres. Okay, I'm done. And that gets to actually another point I'd like to discuss, and I'm certain you women would agree with me, which is that people need, especially older people, to plan for pleasure. Younger people too, but younger people, to plan for pleasure.
Yeah.
If you rely, if you're in a long-term relationship and you rely upon spontaneity, and you're older, well, you're tired, you work, you take, you drink, you end up putting it off, and then you lose confidence. And next thing you know, you're putting off pretty fucking regularly. So, Zoe and Suzanne, if you're coming to visit me in Montana, by the way, come. I'm a really great chef. My house is probably the best restaurant.
You're really funny as well, and you're really funny.
Thank you. Thank you. If you're going to come here for dinner, it'd be special. So I wouldn't it would be like, you ring the doorbell and I'd say, oh, what's in the refrigerator? Oh, we got some leftover rotisserie chicken. Let's just heat it up with some ketchup on it. I would plan a meal because it's more enjoyable.
With a ring on.
With a ring on it, right? Everyone gets a ring and comes to visit. You want to the point is, when it comes to sex, people, to some degree, porn is, I think porn can be invidious, but it also can point people in the direction. Plan. If there are things that you like in porn, show it to your partner. Hey, here are three, okay, you don't like the way it looks, it's vulgar, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Here are three things that we don't do that I'd like to do. Let's plan to incorporate these things. That goes for women as well, too, because 40% of porn, according to Pornhub, or close to 40% of porn is watched by women.
Yeah. Anyway, we have reached way beyond our 30 minutes of that we usually stop, but we've enjoyed this so much, and we will put your promo code on all of the website links and all the stuff for your devices. It's has been super fascinating. I really, just loved hearing about this. I'm a big cockring fan. Zoe's a big scrotum fan. So, yeah.
You got to meet my wife. Hey, Annie, come on for a second. We stopped recording, but Suzanne is a big cockring fan. Zoe's a big scrotum fan. I think you're a fan of both. Scrotum, balls. Here's
anyway. Lovely to meet you. Lovely to meet you. You were so lucky. You were so lucky. If you find another one like him, can you just send him over to London? Will you?
Yeah, we're going to be in London. Our daughter lives there. One of our kids lives there, and we're going to be in London in May. Love to get together.
Yeah, let's do that. I sing as well. I've got a gig in May. So you might even be able to come see me sing. That'd be so cool. Anyway, that's all from me.
Well, and that's all from me. I was out taking care of the
Eliot, lovely.
It's a pleasure.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.